Miss Salima Aluwash would like to know what the Dead Sea Scrolls have given us of knowledge. What knowledge have we been able to take from them?
Yes, the Dead Sea Scrolls have revealed a lot of knowledge, but still it is not being properly interpreted because of many differences of opinion about what do they indicate, what do they stand for. And there are many problems in the way of receiving their correct message. I have put a team on this which is working. I have also made contact with American experts on Dead Sea Scrolls. I have personally spoken to some, and they fully agreed with my viewpoint, and I drew their attention to the fact that without first fixing the historical, without first assessing what was happening outside the caves, you can never in fact understand why there was any need for these documents to be kept in caves and their documents to be sealed. What was happening on the surface of the land has to be correctly understood. Only then you will be able to understand the message of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And that has to be understood for the 200 or so years prior to the Christian era. Now I cannot explain in full here because it's a very big subject, but I can give you a few points to ponder upon. Dead Sea Scrolls indicate things of Jewish origin as well as Christian origin. So the teaching seems to be a bit mixed. The Dead Sea Scrolls also seem to indicate John the Baptist, indicate to the John the Baptist as the true man. They reveal the Old Testament in a different manner than what they find the Old Testament nowadays. Generally it is in agreement, but in many cases it is not. So this revelation of the Old Testament was interpreted as it's being a Jewish document, while it's absolutely wrong, because the Christians, particularly those who followed Jesus Christ and his brother Jacob, they always had strong ties with the Old Testament, and all their teachings depended on Old Testament, because according to them Christ had brought no new law. So if they were driven to such caves, etc., naturally they would have their documents of Old Testament and many things. So these are just a few possible differences of opinion which may mislead the people about the Dead Sea Scrolls. So I have put a team on this. I believe that the Dead Sea Scrolls resulted from going into hiding of the people of John the Baptist. When he was supposed to be murdered, there is strong evidence, and we are unearthing it, that actually he had escaped and he was not murdered. Now, if he had to keep in touch with his own people behind, that had to be in cryptic language. Otherwise, the Roman Empire had long hands, long arms. It could destroy John the Baptist where he was, and it was still a Roman area in fact. So there are many compulsions for John the Baptist not to reveal the fact that he could not be killed by the Roman soldiers or whoever was appointed to destroy him, but he escaped as God had promised him. But he did not escape from his responsibility as a leader of that sect, which was a divinely appointed responsibility. How could he abandon that? So that shows that he must have been in constant touch with his people, and they must have referred to him not as John the Baptist, but as Mirza Sadiq or things like that. So there are many indications which support this theory, that these are the people. Otherwise, why should Jews have gone into hiding? Give me one good reason. They remained on the surface for 70 years and fought back the Roman Empire for about 2 years. Then they were ultimately driven away from the land, and that was the first, second diaspora or whatever it was. Now they have no reason why they should go underground, because they were doing it boldly and they were rebels. Rebels do not go underground. I mean, after they had openly rebelled, why should they have gone underground? Christians lived on the surface, ordinary Christians lived on the surface of land, and they suffered a lot for their message at the hands of the Roman Empire as well as at the hands of the Jewish people. Why should they have hidden a few things from them and gone underground to the caves and put them in jars and sealed them and things? There is no sense in that at all. The only sense which it can make is if you accept our theory, Ahmediyya theory, that it had to be John the Baptist and his people. And when you reread the scroll and try to interpret it in the light of what I have said, then you immediately begin to read sense in that. Things become connected and things become very apparent. So we are working on it, and inshallah I'll pursue the team to carry the work ahead. But the problem is perhaps not that of the team, but it is my problem, because I have to sit over the meetings personally. Otherwise they cannot read the message correctly. I have to tell them, look, this is what it means, this is what it does not mean, so on and so forth. So my shortage of time is perhaps responsible for the delay in our publication on this subject. But I have already told the workers, the scholars, to start writing on articles, short articles on the in the review of religion, because these things are aired properly, and most scholars may join forces with us. Got it? Now, during my discussion with that prominent scholar, I don't remember his name now, but he's one of those who is considered to be on the very top, highly respected in the community of scholars. During my meeting with him, because he became immediately friendly, he told me of certain things of which I had no knowledge before. He said that he repeatedly goes to Israel to ask their permission to have access to certain documents which have been revealed by the Dead Sea Scrolls and which are kept under strict secrecy by the Jewish people. And he told me that in private, the man who was responsible for this, he admitted that, look here, these documents cannot be revealed because they would be against the Judaism in which we believe. And they will reveal things which will go against the present doctrines of the Jews. Now, this is what he told me, and that is which is very significant, because John the Baptist was practically ousted from the mainstream Jewish community because he was a prophet of God. They showed extreme hostility towards him. That's he went to dwell in the desert or by the side of River Jordan. The point is that as a prophet of God, he could not have been accepted by the Jewish community, and as a prophet of God, he would have been told by God that this is the true Old Testament and that is the wrong Old Testament. So his book, by which he, from which he drew his conclusions, that book differed in many fundamentals with the Jewish Old Testament which they held in their hands. Now the interesting thing is that the Old Testament found in the caves is more in agreement with John the Baptist's ideology. So again his finger is pointed at him, and that Old Testament which is found in the caves very clearly contradicts the Jewish views about so many things. Now, where did it come from? That is the point. Why some Jews should have gone to the caves and start writing Old Testament against themselves? So these are the things which are very intriguing, and they were just intriguing to him before I met him, and when I explained my point of view, he agreed 100%. He said, now I understand the problem. Previously I was working at a scholar, but I was confused, why should it have happened so? Now you have shown me the way. This is the reason why. And he practically, not practically, but he literally agreed with everything which I said about Judaism and Christianity. In fact, except for name, by the time we ended the interview, he had become a full Ahmadi. Except in name. So I wrote to him again, and he also wrote back a very sympathetic and cordial letter. And whenever I send somebody to meet him in this regard, some scholar, he gives him time and always listens sympathetically. Please.